Hello, welcome back to another episode of Coaching Conversations. Today we're speaking about state of affairs, state of play, and state of mind. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Coaching Conversations with Nick and Chris. I hope you've had a wonderful week. Today we're going to be diving into a really interesting topic that will help start to set up your year for 2022. Yes, I'm already saying that on the 22nd of November, starting to look forwards into next year. But before we jump into that, Nick, how are you this morning?
Oh, very well, thank you, sir. I'm ready to rumble for the week. We've got a busy week, which is cool.
We
got a
do.
whole bunch of people that we've onboarded, which is even better.
Yes.
So we get to help more people, which I love.
Yes, and we're getting to meet up tomorrow, which
we're going
is
to meet up
the first
tomorrow.
time for many months.
It's been a long time, right? Feels like forever.
Time. Yes, we're going to film some content as
So
well.
cool.
Make the most of the time
Yeah, man.
together while we have it, which will be great. Today we're speaking about, as I said in the intro, state of affairs, state of play, state of mind. You might be thinking, what is this all about? Really, it's going to be about setting up a formula for success for next year. And if you're in business this year and perhaps it's been tough, perhaps it's been prosperous for you, we're really wanting to look at the external events of what's going on and look at where we're placed in the bigger picture of things. So, Nick, did you want to start by kind of elaborating a little bit more about this state of affairs, state of play, state of mind?
Absolutely. Well, it's interesting. So I started thinking about what's a formula or a model that people could think about reasonably quickly, and also kind of connect it with a whole bunch of different things in their business, whether it's going to be sales, marketing, strategy, operations, personnel, just the overview of the business itself, all of these sort of key different areas. And I started thinking about, I was watching sort of some rallies and stuff like that on social media around what's going on around the planet itself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the Austrian rally yesterday must have had, I reckon, it looked like 500,000 people, maybe more. Like it was a massive one because what's going on there of making a mandate for vaccines. And, we just had ones in Sydney, 150,000, 200,000 in Melbourne. And I started thinking about kind of what's the state of affairs today. I mean, we've had COVID for 18 months, give or take almost 2 years, around the world itself. And, it's an interesting state of affairs. Some people are, pro-vax, some people are anti-vax, some people are pro mandates, others aren't. All of these kind of sort of different, complicated sort of environments that we're in today, and these are our realities. I mean, today it's the state of affairs today is in a particular way, and we've seen kind of the state of affairs if you kind of link it to business about what's going on with businesses in those, what are the state of affairs for businesses? Businesses having a mandate, vaccine passport check-ins, and some you can sit, some you can't. Some businesses have opened, some businesses haven't. The construction industry had to get it, the jab before they were on. Borders not open. All of these things that are affecting business. Today I just saw this morning, to get over to the Queensland border, you need to do like a PCR test. As an example, it's $140. So some people that are traveling, where you live on the border to go to Queensland on the border, if you sort of look at it like that and you're doing that twice a day, I mean, it's $280 at a time just to get over there. So imagine if you're a business that's importing or delivering just across border, like how will that work for you? You can't, it's unsustainable. So there's all of these interesting areas in the state of affairs. And I'm going to kind of chunk this down towards business itself, but I just thought I'd kind of give some people some context. So I started thinking about kind of state of affairs. And then I sort of thought about these kind of two other words with it, right? So the next one was sort of state of play. And what I mean by the state of play, at the moment, the state of play is sort of semi-dictated by governments, obviously, and whether it's going to be localized government or Australian government or global, if you're depending on where you are and around the world or in the US, right? And so the state of play is almost the model that we're using if we talk about COVID, the model that we've used for COVID is get vaccinated, lock down people, put them in hospital after they've got whatever, you can't travel. There's all these things. And that's been kind of the state of play that has led to the state of affairs.
Yeah.
Now, in business, the state of play for some people has been, sorry, you can't open up your hospitality. If you own, I don't know, a wedding reception hall, sorry, you're not doing it, right? So, limit it to 5 people or 10.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. So, funerals or whatever. And I get it, government had to do whatever they did, on the health advice, but, it really doesn't take into consideration a broad range of, opportunity, like applications for business. So, the state of play for you, if like I said, if you own a wedding reception hall, as an example, how could you possibly, run your business with 5 people? Or 10 people, you can't. It's not worth opening. You got all the staff. It's all of that. No. So, like a friend of mine that they're in the wedding industry for hire cars, they're booked out till 2023 now, and they're doing weddings on a Monday. Like, he goes every day of the week.
Really?
Got a wedding on. Yeah, whoa. Like traditionally it used to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Kind of, and not even so much Friday. He goes, yeah, now they're doing it Tuesdays, Thursdays, just to
get it in.
Just to get it in, to keep up, and they're booked out for ages. A good thing for him. He said he's got like 400 weddings booked, right? It's a good thing for him. But, it's just like, it's trying to push all of this stuff. So once again, the state of play for let's say the current environment, which is a state of affairs, the state of play is kind of dictates what the state of affairs is, right? So just think, the outcome of the game would be, you know what I mean? Like the outcome of the game gives you the outcome, which is a state of affairs, right? So think about it like that. And then, I started thinking about it and saying, well, how is it that some people can kind of thrive in this environment where other people maybe don't thrive as much in this environment? And, if you look at the news, it's all, death, destruction, it's all of this stuff. Like, I was looking at it and they're like, a spike in COVID cases post Melbourne peaceful rallies or whatever. It's like 99% of any of those people that are at that rally are definitely not going to go the next day to go, hey, I'm going to do a COVID test. I mean, they don't even. So the media blows out stuff. It's like 1 or 2 people or whatever, even though not that long ago they go, hey, you can't get it from an outside rally and it's all cool. Because when they had the Black Lives Matter, rally was still COVID-based in through there, right? So, the health advice has gone, no, you can't get it outside and all of this stuff. And that's why no one needs to wear a mask anymore outside or any of that stuff. So, the media sensationalizes that stuff, which that's their job to do that. That's what makes their job is to report, but their job is to get more views for them, right?
That's right.
It's like a business, right?
It's like coverage,
Coverage, right? So the state of mind for some people get caught in that. It's like crazy, right? It's funny. I was like sitting next to somebody yesterday, and we were talking about this just at a party, and I've known her for years. And, she's like, I'm vaxxed. And, and she goes, oh, I definitely can't sit next to people that are unvaxxed because I could get it. I'm like, actually, if you do your research, it's the other way around, because the spike proteins inside the vax is what transmits it between people. I'm like, the people that are unvaxxed are worse off if you're vaxxed because you can transmit it. And she's like, oh, what? I'm like, so do you know, she was already in a fear state of mind based on what the media has told her, but if you really do the research. So once again, I think some people in through COVID have gone, oh God, it's the worst thing. My business is never going to recover. How do I do it? I've had to put off all these stuff. Or other people have gone, all right, I get it. There's nothing we can do. Don't panic. We'll figure it out. And then, they're starting to bounce back and some, like the construction industry has exploded.
There's a boom right now.
Busier than ever, like it's all of this stuff, right? So now, so does that kind of give you?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and I think it's good for business owners that are listening, where this is a broad topic. It's really covering across kind of 3 big subsections. So, which has kind of set the foundation, which is good. So let's dive in a little bit more into these areas.
Yeah, perfect. So let's start with the state of affairs again, because let's think a bit about this from a business owner as the end goal, or the, what you were trying to create in that. And, the state of affairs for UpCoach, as an example, we know we like, 50 to 60 odd clients per year.
Mm-hmm.
We want to have a really harmonious business where we really connect with the right people.
Mm.
We're very strict on who we take on board. You know, they need to absolutely be kind of, you know, cool with us, right? And we're cool with them. And, you know, there's a particular sort of criteria that they are. And, you know, with the staff, we all get along pretty well. And, you know, it's a fun place to work. And, you know, that's you're pretty free to make decisions on your own. You know, we're not on the clock. And, you know, so that's kind of the state of affairs that we've created, that I've created with you guys and you've created with me. You know, I don't, and, you know, not most, all my team other than Rose, you know, is you know, at their homes throughout Australia. So, you know, when you think about it, you know, we've really created that. Everyone's pretty, I think, pretty happy. And, you know, we're going well and we've set some goals. And, you know, there's certain clients, and touch wood, our clients have been awesome. We get great ratings and, you know, they're just good people, you know. So we've been able to make that state of affairs process kind of come through, you know what I mean? So, which is cool. Now, for next year, obviously, we want to, you know, scale that up more. You know, there's possible franchise opportunities. There's all these things that we're talking about within, you know, what we want to do with Upcoach. And once again, the state of affairs kind of a result of the state of play. So with your business, the first thing is, you know, are you dictating, this is probably something you could ask yourself, you know, is the state of affairs being dictated by you, or is something else dictating your state of affairs? You know, like you've kind of got to think about it from the perspective of, you know, it's all going to connect together. So you've got to say, well, how clear am I about the state of affairs, and you know what possible hurdles are going to come into it. So looking at the end play, I mean, if you look at a sporting team, you know, let's take, you know, Manchester United, just on the weekend, they lost 4-1 against the team Watford that we should have smashed them like 5-0, no problem at all. And, you know, they sacked their coach now, you know, Solskjaer has gone as a coach and they can't keep losing. They've had a terrible season. And this is talking Manchester United. You know, people used to tremble on the ground when we come down because they go, how many points are they about to lose by? Not, are they going to win? And this team, that smacked us like 4-1. It's like unheard of. You know, the goalkeeper was like, this is you know, we should be embarrassed of ourselves. You know, like it's United, right? You know, they get paid enough money to do what they do, right? So if you look at that, I mean, undoubtedly the state of affairs, which is the end game, should have been, hey, we should have won the game. We should win games. But sometimes it's dictated, here we go, by the, you know, the next level, which is the state of play. So what I'm trying to say with businesses is it's really, really important for us to consider, you know, what is it that we want from a state of affairs clearly. So get yourself clear about what the end game is. Now, I'm not saying in any business, and let me say this again, I'm not saying in any business that the end result, which is a state of affairs, is going to be exactly what you've mapped out. Because very rarely does it actually, you know, does something go to plan. There's always going to be something that you need to make sure of, you know, have a bit of luck on, you know, maybe alter a little bit, you know, be grateful for, be happy with, you know, all of these things. Now, you know, I still believe in Olympic gold, but sometimes, you know, the best that you could do was silver. You've tried your best, and that silver came out, which is pretty awesome. But maybe this year it wasn't gold, you know. So, and you've got to think about that, right? The world didn't wake up and go, there's going to be COVID. But we've had to deal with it. And the state of affairs today has been dictated, you know, some by us, some by not by us. So you've got to think about it like that. So, you know, get clear about that. That should be your state of affairs. Kind of get clear about where you want to be. That's really, really important.
Okay, cool. Very good. I know that you've also said, you know, at some of our live events, you know, the map is not necessarily the terrain. And I think that applies to that very well. You know, you can have the best blueprint, the best plan in the world, but sometimes, you know, there are unforeseen things that pop up and you've got to overcome obstacles and create solutions and that sort of thing. I like what you said about, is it you controlling the state of affairs, or is it the state of affairs controlling you? So I think that's powerful, getting clear about that outcome and then starting to work through the terrain based on the plan you've laid out. Okay.
Yeah. And then then the sort of next level is the state of play. So, and here's what I mean by this. You know, if perfect example, look at Manchester United. They've got all the right players. They have. These guys are the best of the best around the world, play in these type of leagues. You know, Ronaldo's come back. You know, they're the legends, right? Thank God he's been scoring goals too, right? So, you know, they've got the right thing, but for whatever reason right now, that state of play, they're not gelling. There's stuff happening behind the scenes at, you know, club managerial level and club level, CEO level. You know, since the CEO took over, the team's just gone like this. So I don't know what the morale is. You know, it can't be. At the end of the day, look, the players have got to play, but it seems like there's not a lot that they're playing for, so to speak.
Sure.
So you've got to think about it in your business. You know, first of all, do you have the right people to make the state of affairs happen? Do you have the right state of play in people? The second part is, you know, do you have the right state of play strategy? You know, because you can have all of these people on the team, but if the strategy is not right, if you go down the wrong path, if you connect with the wrong clients, if you try to take on big jobs and you don't have cash flow, if you you know try to take on all little jobs, you don't have personnel, if you don't have like your systems in place, and you've got to be there all the time. So the state of play is everything in your business, from when you open the door to when you close the door every day to the type of client that you attract, the type of your product that you have. And often it looks like, people are making money. We've got big contracts and it's cool. And, but then you look at the percentage. I spoke to somebody the other day, we could have taken on this big contract. It's less than 7% GP. And it's like, oh man, you can cut it fine. It's a new sort of place that we are. You got to travel there as well, be out, it's an hour and a half travel each day, each way.
Right.
Sure, we get the contract, but then what? Like what happens if there's an alteration or something like that? You don't want to be doing a, $1 million, $1.2 million contract for 5%. It could cost you a hell of a lot more. And you're talking 50 grand profit after everything. It's not gross, not even net. So, once again, you've got to think about the strategy around the state of play. And this is often where UpCoach comes into it. We're strategists for the state of play in order for you to have the state of affairs as an outcome of what you're trying to achieve, right? So when you think about your state of play, you kind of got to ask the right question. Do I have the right state of play strategy? Do I have the right people? Have I got the money? Have I got the marketing? Have I got the sales? Have I got the systems? Have we got the product? Right now, as an example, they're building a house next door. They've laid the slab, all the foundations in, all the, the pipe work for the plumbing is all in, and now they can't. It's been like 2 weeks, nothing. And my wife spoke to the lady that owns it. She saw it at the shopping center or whatever, and she said, "Oh, what's happening next door?" She goes, "We haven't got any timber." Like and this is a big company. It's like Clarendon Homes or whatever. Like it's not a little backyard builder. They just don't have timber to do the frames, right? And we know somebody that does metal frames, and they're being exploded, right? So once again, it doesn't matter how good then the state of play is. If you don't have the materials to sell your product, you can't do anything about it. So you've got to think about saying, well, what do I need to be able to have in the state of play? And that's the big part. Does your state of play equal the state of affairs? And I'm going to say this: do you have a plan B and do you have a plan C? Because today, COVID is what? We can't keep locking people down. That state of play has failed miserably. It's cost more money in economy and more lives, and more. You know what I mean? Like all of that stuff has cost us dearly. And, sure. I mean, the playmakers said, "Oh, it's it does work," but global research shows that it doesn't work at all. Like lockdowns don't work. So because once again it just hammers the people across the board. Right? So once again, you've got to go, do I have the right state of play?
Right. So it's kind of boiling down: do I have the right plan, the right strategy, the right approach, the right product, but also I think the tactical application to do it. you can have all the wonderful plans and strategies, but if you're not applying any effort or actually taking action, yeah, there's really going to be no outcome or no outcome.
Well, like you could do stuff, but at the end of the day, you've got to also think, like the best of play sometimes has changed. Like everybody's got the right, thing. It's funny, they interviewed Solskjaer from Manchester United after the game, and he said, "Look, the first half they caned us." And he goes, "And we absolutely did nothing." He goes, "The second half we had a talk, and they went as if they had nothing to lose, and they set up 5 sort of things, scored 1 goal." You know what I mean? And the interviewer said something interesting. He goes, "Well, you've been losing the last 4 games." He said, "Why would they have that mindset going into the game? Shouldn't it be like, we should play like we got nothing to lose and do whatever?" And he goes, "Yeah, well," he goes, "you'd think they'd be able to make their own decisions." And he's defeated as a manager. You're talking Manchester United, you're not like the local park soccer, you know what I mean? Like, or Sydney FC, like it's United, right? So, and once again, I just think, with that's kind of something that you've got to really consider to go, well, tactically, do I need to go plan B, plan C in case something happens? And by the way, United's also been that team that's come back from 3-0, in the last 10 minutes, score 4 goals. You know what I mean? Like they've done that. Like they were known for that. Ronaldo's known for that. Hammers you in the last 90 seconds. That's good. Like, so you've also got to think about, tactically sometimes, the best of plan doesn't necessarily work fantastic, but, it's good to have a plan, right? So
got it.
Important.
Okay, last component, state of mind.
Yeah, so state of mind, look, I think you've got to think about it like this, going into something like this, if you want the right state of affairs, how have you been thinking? Are you thinking kind of defeatist? And this is what I was saying. How is it that some people have been, able to think in a particular way around, COVID or their business and go, what, now's a great opportunity for us to be able to really kind of grow and, hey, team, stay focused, think positive, get onto it. And by the way, I don't mean think positive, that's, it's all Anthony Robbins, everyone's high-fiving positive. I'm thinking it's more doing, setting up rituals and routines so you're keeping your mind healthy. Totally. Because, it doesn't take long for weeds to kind of come into it. Take United once again as an example. Their state of mind is shot. When teams like that keep on losing over and over again, it hammers them, goal. And I thought they would have lifted. They just got Ronaldo, he's like a superstar, big profile for United, and mate, the other goalkeepers on the other side sweat when he's on because there's a high probability he's going to score a goal. High probability, not maybe if he's lucky, he doesn't go 7 games without a goal. He just, 5 games and he scores 10 goals. He's shit like that, right? So when you think about it, even his mindset, because I check out his posts and he's like, come on, lads, he calls them lads, come on, lads, stay focused, we're on it. All right, we've had a setback. And he's the guy that posts that all the time. No wonder he's the best in the world, right? His mindset is a fortress. I heard an interview the other day where some of the players hate going over to dinner at his place because he gets his chefs to prepare all this nutritious shit food and stuff like nutritious food, and the players just want to let their hair down and a drink and all that. And he's like, no, because that's who he is, he's like a machine, 37, still playing at that level. Wow. So once again, state of mind, I think for your business is important. So you've got to ask yourself, is my state of mind really affecting the state of play, which in turn affects the state of affairs? And what I was saying before, is the state of affairs actually affecting, is it ruling your mindset? So, like I said, if you keep losing money in business month over month, if your product's not right, people keep on complaining, and me and you have been through this. Well, we've had an exodus of clients
Yeah.
Like in one hit, you lose 5 clients. I remember you went through a period and it was like 7 clients or something. When I'm like, well, I'm like, I told you, dude, to get your head back in the game. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. And, you know, touch wood, you haven't had it for years.
Nope.
You know, none of us have, you know, which is kind of cool. But you do go through that and you're just trying to figure out why that happens, right? So,
yeah, you're right.
You know,
it's about
right?
keeping it, like I like what you said about Ronaldo there. It's like he keeps his mind, he said so he keeps it locked in and secure like a fortress, you know,
Like a
blocks
fortress.
out those negative thoughts, the negative energy that might be floating his way. And he's like, no, it doesn't matter. This is the plan going back to.
Exactly. And by the way, you could imagine the expectation from Ronaldo. From the fans all around the world. You know, Manchester United is like 550 million people tune in when United play around the world at any game. You know, like it's ridiculous numbers, right? And it's like one of the most watched team or whatever. You know, when they're winning, it's really cool. When they're not, people are like, yeah. And Ronaldo, his expectation is he hops on the game and he does it. He misses a penalty, forget it. They carry on like for weeks. Shit like that, you know, like it's all of these players at this top, like Messi, you know, any of the, you know, all the basketball players, you know, look at Lewis Hamilton in Formula One. Man, never has anybody's won like back-to-back 7 years or something. And now Max Verstappen is like this close to winning it, but knocked him off. Yeah, there was one time I think he didn't even finish on a podium. It was like fourth. Look at the expectation, you know. So you can't afford to be able to having doubt as a business owner. You can't afford to have doubt in your business. Every time you creep in with doubt, it changes the state of play because of people that the strategy that you said, yeah, we're going to go for, you change it around. And that's like tactically you're moving stuff halfway in the battle.
Yep.
You know, all right, we thought we we're going to go in with guns. No, let's change it. Maybe do we take the knife? It's like, I don't know, do we take bats instead? It's like, man, don't do that. It's just go in, you know, like you can't, you know, if you're engaged, you can't run back. But sometimes you do need a plan B, plan C. But with your mind, there's no plan B. Your mind's got to be focused. It's got to be protected, you know, like very important, or else sometimes the state of affairs will dictate your mindset, and then you get stuck in the loop.
There we go. Yeah, very much so.
Things start going bad, you feel bad. You think bad, everything else starts going bad. Things go bad, you think bad. You think bad, the play changes. Then the state of affairs go, and that's it. You're in a cul-de-sac. The word cul-de-sac is like, you know, it's kind of death. It's hard to get out of it.
Yeah.
So to be able to think about it from a marketing point of view. Here's what people do. They go, yeah, I want this state of affairs. They go, in the state of play, we're going to do a marketing strategy. Mindset's right. They go to do it. They test it out once. It doesn't work. They're like, stop marketing. Everyone's like this. Don't spend any more money on it.
That's right.
And here you are. So you're in the cul-de-sac, right? And what you're trying to do is come back up the other way. But guess what? While you stopped all your marketing, now you need twice the effort to try to get up there because you're already up here. And then you let it go and your competitor's already up here. So you've got to, you know, it's twice or 3 times the effort to try to get any market presence. What was the wrong mistake there? In your state of play, you didn't think long-term with marketing. You thought, oh, I'll just do it once. It's going to work perfectly. You know, some marketing agency goes, oh, we're going to get you all the leads in the world. Facebook changed an algorithm and it didn't work. And then what? So your state of mind is dictated by the state of play, by the state of affairs that didn't work out right, rather than to go, you know what, all right, this didn't work out right. What do we need to do to get to the state of affairs? And like I tell all my businesses, please don't think that anything I tell you where it comes to marketing is going to work. And they go, what do you mean? I'm like, well, because I know 98, 89% it fails.
Yep.
I don't own Facebook. I don't own Instagram. I don't own YouTube. I don't own Google. How would you possibly know, you know, what happens there? You're going to give it your best shot. We're going to learn from it. There's plan B here, but you need to think well past that marketing from a strategy to do whatever it takes in order for us to get the state of affairs that we're after we're going to do. You know, and by the way, I hear that, you know, all the time. It's like, well, but we don't have that type of money. It's like, well, you shouldn't be aiming that high.
Mm.
You don't drive to Perth from Sydney on $5 worth of fuel.
No, that's
You're
right.
aiming well to past what you're going to get to. It's the wrong tool for the job.
Absolutely. Very good. Okay, cool. So you've managed to break down that state of affairs, which leads into that state of play, and then obviously securing your mind, which I really liked, having that state of mind aspect linked up. So what's your lasting piece of advice around kind of the 3 stages here? And they call that all the formula, as you were saying, for success.
Yeah, good question. Look, I think, the only certainty you've got in any uncertain time today, the state of affairs is a little bit uncertain. I mean, look what's going on around the world. It's people are a bit fearful.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Qantas this morning. They said, the Singapore bubbles there, the US, or something like that. And they asked her, how are people going? She goes, oh, some of the major destinations have been sort of, there's a push for Christmas and stuff like that. She goes, but, domestically we're not good. And a few other places like that is because people don't know what's going on. People don't, So if you've, as an example, even if you've gone, okay, well, I'm going to go on holidays, you're in Sydney, you go, I'm going to go to Queensland or Gold Coast or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not feeling real confident about what's going on. Now, could you be certain in an uncertain world? And the answer is yes. And that certainty comes from changing the state of play. Well, okay, you know what? We're still going to go on holidays, but if we don't do, Queensland, let's do New South Wales.
Yep.
I mean, I just did that. We were going to go to Queensland. Actually, last year I wanted to go to Europe, but this year we're going to go for Queensland with all our friends. It was already booked, and
that's right.
Right. Unfortunately, we had to cancel it because of all the stuff. So this January, I didn't take any like chances with that. So I booked New South Wales. I booked it in a caravan at caravan parks and a ski park. I'm like, they're all going to be open. Either which way, I don't even need to stay at a ski park and stay in a bloody caravan. So there was certainty from what I wanted. I just had to change the state of play to create the end result. It's a 2-week holiday. It's called the state of affairs. I've just changed it around. So, like you've got to sort of think like this. As a business owner, you got to be malleable. I think that's the big thing. And I suppose we've spoken about this last time where we said, we spoke a little bit about, how you think, I suppose, is important, but you've also got to be malleable enough to be kind of cool enough as a business owner. The old school 10-year planning is very difficult today.
No, that's right. Flexible in your approach, I think we was
flexible in the approach, and I think it's important to be that way. Be like a chameleon with it. You still need to move around. Like next door, they haven't got the timber. Could there be a possibility of a steel frame order? Should they have maybe forecasted that? Because this has been going on for almost a year. The shortages, they know it's coming. So is there project planning that could be better or whatever, right? So. And here's the end thing, guys. Anybody listening to this, I wish everybody, we had the magic crystal ball, but we don't. What's good about working with coaches is we can see further down the line, which is kind of cool because we kind of detach from it at a higher level, so we can see this. If you keep on that state of play, here's more than likely what the state of affairs are going to be. That's what's cool, but really, your mindset, needs to be, I need to make this business work. That's the goal for it. So.
Very good. Guys, I hope you got a lot of takeaways out of today's episode. It's really thinking differently about what's happening with your current business environment, how you're planning out your strategy, and how your mindset is driven. If you have any questions or need any help in those areas, please reach out to us at askitupcoach.com.au. And as always, we'll see you all again next week. Bye now.
Bye now.